Wellness Rhythm Show. Find your rhythm. Live your wellness.
Y'all, let me tell you something that genuinely stopped me in my tracks last month. I was doing everything right, watching my portions, moving my body, sleeping okay, and I still felt puffy, foggy, and tired. Then my doctor mentions the words metabolic syndrome. And I'm sitting there thinking, wait, I thought I was doing this stuff.
Right, and that experience is more common than people realize. The American Heart Association estimates that roughly 1 in 3 adults in the US has metabolic syndrome. 1 in 3. And a lot of them, like you, Emma, are doing what they think are the right things.
So today we're digging into something that genuinely changed how I think about food. Not calories in, calories out. We're talking about what those calories actually do inside your body, specifically fructose, and why your hormones frankly do not care that a calorie is a calorie.
Exactly. This is not about demonizing fruit or going sugar-free. It's about understanding the metabolic machinery. And once you get it, the whole picture shifts.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Metabolic syndrome. Can we just define that clearly? Because I hear it thrown around and I think people nod like they know what it means.
Fair point. Metabolic syndrome is actually a cluster of 5 conditions. Elevated blood pressure, high blood sugar, excess fat around the waist, low HDL cholesterol, and high triglycerides. If you have 3 or more of those together, that's the diagnosis.
And none of those individually sound catastrophic, but together they significantly raise your risk for type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke. The clustering is the problem.
Precisely. And here's where fructose enters the conversation in a really specific way. Dr. Robert Lustig, a pediatric endocrinologist at UCSF, has spent decades arguing that fructose metabolism is uniquely problematic compared to glucose. His work, including the paper Fructose 2.0, published in Metabolic Syndrome and Related Disorders, is pretty foundational here.
And Dr. Lustig is not exactly a fringe voice. Love him or find him a little intense, the man has data behind him.
He does. So here's the core mechanism. Glucose is metabolized throughout the body. Every cell can use it. Fructose, however, is metabolized almost exclusively in the liver.
Which sounds fine until you hear what happens next.
Right, so when the liver gets hit with a large fructose load, and we're talking about the kind you get from added sugars, not a whole apple, it processes it differently. It doesn't trigger insulin in the same way. It bypasses the normal appetite regulation signals.
And this is where I want to flag something for our listeners, especially those of us juggling a lot. Because fructose does not trigger leptin, which is the hormone that tells your brain, hey, you're full, stop eating.
That's a crucial distinction. Leptin signaling, studied extensively by researchers like Dr. Jeffrey Friedman at Rockefeller University, is basically your satiety thermostat. And fructose essentially sneaks past it.
So you drink a large soda or a big glass of juice and your brain never gets the memo that you consumed significant calories. You're not satisfied the same way.
And simultaneously, fructose metabolism in the liver promotes fat synthesis, specifically triglyceride production. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation by Stanhope and colleagues in 2009 showed that compared to glucose, fructose consumption led to significantly greater increases in visceral fat over just 10 weeks.
Visceral fat, just to flag this for listeners, is the fat around your organs, not the fat under your skin. And it's visceral fat that drives the inflammatory load connected to metabolic syndrome.
Well explained. And this is where the hormonal cascade really matters. High visceral fat contributes to insulin resistance. Insulin resistance drives more fat storage. The liver gets overwhelmed. And you start ticking those metabolic syndrome boxes.
Here's the thing, though, and I want to be really honest with our audience. When I first heard all this, I thought, okay, so fruit is bad now. And that's absolutely not what the science says.
No, and this nuance is important. Whole fruit contains fiber, water, vitamins, and the fructose dose is naturally limited. The fiber slows absorption dramatically. We're talking about added fructose, particularly high fructose corn syrup, which is engineered for palatability and cost.
The dose and the delivery mechanism matter enormously. A pear is not a Pepsi, physiologically speaking.
Brilliantly put. The Environmental Working Group and various public health researchers have pointed out that the average American consumes somewhere between 50 and 70 grams of added fructose per day. The liver can handle roughly 25 grams before it starts shunting the excess into fat production.
That gap is where the metabolic trouble lives.
Exactly. And here's where I want to bring in a bit of genuine friction. Because I know you've personally shifted things here, Emma. But I'm somewhat skeptical of the fructose is toxic framing that circulates in wellness spaces.
Oh, I know. And honestly, I share that skepticism about the extreme version of it because I've seen people spiral into obsessive label reading and eliminate all fruit, and it became its own stressor.
Which cortisol research, particularly from Dr. Alyssa Eppel at UCSF, would suggest is itself metabolically harmful. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which drives visceral fat accumulation independently.
So you can stress your way into metabolic syndrome trying to avoid fructose-driven metabolic syndrome. The irony is real.
The irony is very real. The practical message is proportionality and source, not elimination.
Okay, so let's talk practical. Because our listeners, whether you are managing family meals, traveling for work, or navigating a retirement shift in routine, you need actual moves here.
Right. Move 1. Audit your liquid calories first. Juice, sweetened coffee drinks, sports drinks, sodas. These are the highest dose, lowest satiety fructose sources. Water, sparkling water, unsweetened tea. Those swaps alone can close a significant portion of that gap.
I did this, swapped my daily afternoon juice habit for sparkling water with a squeeze of actual lemon. The cravings shifted within about 2 weeks. Not immediately, but they shifted.
Second move. When you do eat something sweet, pair it with protein or fiber. This slows gastric emptying and reduces the glycemic and fructose impact. The research on food combining in this specific context, from work published in Diabetes Care, supports this as a meaningful mitigation strategy.
And honestly, this is where I want to ask our listeners, if this is landing for you, if you're thinking, okay, this explains something I've experienced, please hit like and subscribe. This kind of episode takes real research, and we want to keep bringing it to you every week.
We genuinely appreciate it. Third practical point. Read ingredient labels for high-fructose corn syrup, fructose, agave nectar, and crystalline fructose. Agave is a particularly interesting one because it's marketed as a health food, but it says contains up to 90% fructose by composition.
That one surprised me. I had agave in my pantry for years thinking I was being virtuous.
As did I, honestly. The wellness marketing around it is quite misleading.
So let's talk about who this matters most for. Because I think our sandwich generation listeners, people managing their own health while also caring for aging parents or growing kids, they are often the ones stress eating, rushing through meals, grabbing convenient packaged foods.
And the research does suggest that midlife is a particularly critical window. A large prospective study in the journal Circulation found that metabolic syndrome incidence increases sharply between ages 40 and 65. The hormonal shifts of perimenopause and andropause interact with these metabolic pathways.
So it's not just lifestyle, it's biology compounding, which means this isn't a willpower conversation. It's a system conversation.
That framing is important. The body is not broken. It's responding to inputs it wasn't evolutionarily designed for, in doses it was never meant to handle.
And that actually gives me hope, because systems can be adjusted without being overhauled completely.
Right, so if there's one takeaway from today, and I think there genuinely is just one that matters most, it's this. Not all calories trigger the same hormonal response. Specifically, high-dose added fructose bypasses your satiety signals and drives liver fat production in a way glucose simply does not. The practical starting point is your liquid calories.
Y'all start there, just there. Look at what you're drinking this week. Not your whole diet, not your entire lifestyle, just the drink. That one audit could move the needle more than you expect. And be kind to yourself in the process.
And eat the pear.
Eat the pear. The pear's fine. We love the pear. Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. If this episode was useful, share it with someone who needs it, and we will see you in the next one. This show is part of the VoxCrea.ai system. If you want a show like this for your organization without building it yourself,
go to voxcreel.ai and request a sample episode.